Welcome to Studio 5. We are back in Los Angeles this week to bring you an all-access look at a highly anticipated new chapter in music and movie making.
No more struggles or pain. So how about you tell me what's really going on?
I Can Only Imagine 2 continues the story of Bart Miller.
The cast on this one just absolutely crushed it. And so we brought back the originals. Everybody plays their notes just right.
I'm the dad learning how to have a relationship with my son and do it right. And I can't believe I'm saying it, it's a beautiful story.
Our intimate look at I Can Only Imagine 2 will commence in just a little bit. But first, before we get there, let's fire up this week's countdown of the top 5 stories in the world of uplifting entertainment from Los Angeles.
At number 5, unforgettable images in celebration of Academy Award-winning actor Robert Duvall.
How'd you get it?
Writing songs.
Duvall won an Academy Award for playing that country singer Max Sledge in the film Tender Mercies. Actually, that might explain why.
Oh, yeah, Robert Duvall. Tender Mercies.
When he won, Dolly Parton was so excited to call his name.
Hollywood is mourning the passing of legendary actor Robert Duvall, who passed away at the age of 95 on Monday. Duvall's widow's co-star Viola Davis posted on Instagram Threads saying, "I've always been in awe of your towering portrayals of men who were both quiet and dominating in their humanness. You were a giant."
At number 4,
Woodward, wanna hear my big news?
Let me go mark some time on my calendar.
SpongeBob is coming back to the silver screen. The Spongebob Movie Search for SquarePants will premiere on Paramount Plus today.
I Can Only Imagine 2 continues the story of Mercy Me's Bart Millard. In this chapter, ripped from the pages of his own life, the son is now the father.
I Can Only Imagine by Mercy Me, one of the most beloved songs of all time.
You inspired millions of people. I mean, what did you think was going to happen?
So, Bart, what ingredients do you need in a song story for it to be a movie? You've done this twice now.
I don't know what the ingredients would be. Like these 2 songs in particular, Imagine Even If, were written out of some difficult seasons of my life.
You're just going to ride off into the sunset? No more struggles or pain? So how about you tell me what's really going on?
You know, my therapy is working issues out through my songs, so there are several that, the ones that mean the most to me have come out of some pretty painful places and been therapeutic for me. And it just so happened when the idea of making another movie, it was Cindy Bond, one of the producers, she wanted to make a movie around Even If. Not meaning for it to be a sequel, just like we'll find a story. I love that song, and then the more we kind of looked into it, and Brent McCorkle, who wrote and directed it, when he was like, "Hey, what is the story? Like, where'd the song come from?" When I told him, he was like, "Well, that's the story."
It seems we find ourselves at the crossroads.
They say sometimes you win some.
The question is,
sometimes you lose some.
are we still headliner material?
You got another hit cooking?
So, John, you get the call that we're doing a sequel, if you will. And what are your first thoughts, and how would you describe how we meet Bart in this chapter of the story?
First of all, just immediately elated, thrilled. Didn't even really care what the content was.
Oh,
just
wow.
like, let's get the band back together. Yeah. I mean, there's always in the back of your head, like, you don't want it to be too fluffy or too cheesy. You know, it's a sequel, let's make it good. But I think what's key here is the tables have turned, and now we see Bart as the father.
When did accountant Bart show up?
I don't know, man. About the time I invited my diabetic kid along on this writer's block-inducing make or break tour.
And it was such a wonderful challenge to jump back into that.
Yes. And speaking of Sam, you get to play Sam.
Very convenient.
How familiar were you with I Can Only Imagine before coming into this?
Yeah, so I was kind of a part of the hype of the first I Can Only Imagine. I remember seeing it, and to kind of come in and do a sequel film is mind-boggling to be able to sit next to these 2 guys. But yeah, to come in and play Sam is kind of like another aspect, because I'm so used to hearing Mercy Me and Bart, but then to go under that level and go deeper into the family was a really cool experience.
What did you, in meeting Sam, feel you wanted to bring to screen in portraying him?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
It is. So, in meeting Sam, we talked a lot about the struggle to connect. And I feel like one thing that I felt when reading the script and just kind of being in it was the connection with my dad, and how that has its peaks and valleys. So I feel like not only was his very specific to the world that he was living in with his dad, I feel like that is such a important thing to share, that like all of us go through it, regardless of where you are.
This song needs you.
Fatherhood continues to grow on Mercy Me's Bart Millard, both on film and in real life. He and his wife have 5 children. By the way, I Can Only Imagine 2 is in theaters February 20th. The I Can Only Imagine 2 story continues in just a little bit. We're sitting down with recording artist Tim Timmons and the actor who brings his story to the screen.
I get to meet and study and just become friends, close friends with Tim Timmons.
At number 3,
I can only imagine.
It's the Mercy Me song that became the best-selling Christian single of all time.
Took about 10 minutes, I guess.
Bart, you didn't write this song in 10 minutes. It took a lifetime.
Bart Millard's story inspired the lyrics and the hit film.
You know, I've never told anybody my story.
That silver screen tale now has a sequel in theaters this weekend.
Imagine has had more lives than a stray cat, but record sales have not exactly been stellar as of late. Are we headliner material? And I am open to any new ideas, fellas.
He's talking about you, Bart. You got another hit cooking?
Bart, take me back to the first day on set for you. You're on the set for this. What's it like? What are you smelling? What are you feeling? What are you thinking?
It was pretty incredible going through it once before. Like my first time on set on the first movie, it was like the first day that Dennis Quaid started shooting, and I didn't know what to expect. It was really emotional. No one can kind of train you for that.
At number 2, we remember Reverend Jesse Jackson, a celebrated civil rights leader for more than 50 years, who worked alongside Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and was with him on the balcony of that Memphis hotel where King was shot in 1968. Jackson ran for president twice. He died Tuesday at age 84.
Young America, hold your head high now. We can win. You must never stop dreaming. Face reality, yes, but don't stop with the way things are. Dream of things as they ought to be. Dream. Face pain, but love, hope, faith, and dreams will help you rise above the pain.
And with that, we've got just one more story in this week's Uplifting Entertainment Countdown from Los Angeles. Welcome back to our all-access look at I Can Only Imagine 2. Recording artist Tim Timmons' story is also told in this film. He's really good friends with Bart Millard. We're sitting down with Tim Timmons and the actor who brings his story to life.
I'm Tim. I'm Bart's warm-up. This is my first tour, you know? This is my first tour, too.
Milo, naturally you see I Can Only Imagine the first go-round, and now we're doing I Can Only Imagine 2. When you saw the first, was it something you thought, I'd love to do something with someday, or?
I did it backwards.
Oh, wow.
I was offered a movie called I Can Only Imagine 2, and I'm like, I should probably watch the first one.
I like that.
But I did it on the heels of reading this beautiful script, the roadmap that we have to make the second film, and I'm like, wow, I should really watch the first film. I go back and I watch the first film, and I was like, okay, great, yes, I want to be a part of this. I actually got very excited to work with John Michael Finley. I thought his performance and what he did in that first film was just really beautiful and wonderful, and I saw the honesty in his portrayal of Bart Millard. Then I'm like, well, wait a minute, keep going, finger to chin. Who's this Bart Millard? Let me actually learn more about this Bart Millard and let me get into this. And then it turned into, I know that song. Yeah, I've heard that song. Okay, cool. And then it just keeps going. These breadcrumbs keep you know, tumbling into like a larger ball of awesomeness. And I get to meet and study and just become friends, close friends with Tim Timmons. And what a gift that is. So for me, going from script to first film to Tim, I was like, this is where I want to be.
Boys, this is Tim Timmons. He's your opening act. Tim, mercy me.
Wow, guys, it is so good for you to meet me.
Milo brings your character to life. When did you know, I don't know whether it was going through it, or when did you know that the story, your story, would be a story to share?
In a movie?
Yeah.
Gosh, no, I still don't. You know, I'm still like, who? What's happening?
Me telling God and reminding myself that I'm grateful. Thank you for another day.
Truly, I feel so seen by how he played me. I mean, just as a human, just watching him do what he did was just so encouraging to me. And also hard for me in some ways to watch my cancer journey on the other side. And even just writing this on my wrist every morning, that I got another day, but to watch him do it from the outside of me was encouraging, but was really, I found empathy and compassion for myself that I probably have never experienced before.
What's up with tracing over your tattoo?
It's not a tattoo. I draw it fresh.
Now, naturally, people are going to see this and wonder, how are you doing physically?
Yeah, thanks for asking. There's still tumors on my liver, wearing out my heart, they say. But I was given 5 years to live 25 years ago. And
here you are.
Today I woke up again. I got off a plane this morning and I woke up again today. And then tomorrow, if I wake up again, giddy up. So.
Milo, now I was on set when you arrived on set, and I want to say that you came having lost your home to play this role.
Yeah.
Lost your home in the California fires.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like, leaving this behind and then giving your all to this?
Again, a gift. You know, you're given this moment in your life where everything physically is taken from you, and then strangely mirroring just thematic concepts of the movie was like crazy, you know. And then even in the script, you know, talking about God is in the fire. I'm like, I just experienced the fire. You know, and like how you push through these moments and all of that is just a wonderful thing to be given as an artist, as a husband, as a father, as a friend. And it was exactly what I needed at the right time, you know. I don't know if the performance would have been the same had I not lost my house in a fire. But you know what? We'll never know because it happened. It was a wild experience that, you know, again, like I'm grateful for, you know, kind of all of it.
I just want to write something that helps people through the pain we all go through. Gratitude, grief, finding a way to hold them both. God is in fire.
Even if, is it your it as well?
It is one of my it as wells. Yeah. I want to write songs and prayers that that help us in the middle of hard things.
As we learn in the film, doctors diagnosed recording artist Tim Timmons with an incurable cancer, giving him only 5 years to live. That was more than 20 years ago. Now it's time for your story and pictures this week. Here's your Studio 5 snapshot.
This week, we take in the beauty of Los Angeles. Warm weather, wonderful people, exciting places, and entertainment of every flavor. Be inspired by these images.
And that's a look at this week's Studio 5 snapshot. Still ahead, actor Dennis Quaid delivered an unforgettable performance in I Can Only Imagine. Well, he's back, and he's joining us alongside filmmaker Andrew Irwin.
I made it a deal that I have to be in every one of his films. But it's really special to be a part of it.
And welcome back to Studio 5 from Los Angeles this week. We've made it now to the #1 story in our uplifting entertainment countdown from Los Angeles.
At number 1, snapshots and a Studio 5 exclusive scene from Midwinter Break, inspired by the 2017 novel, following a longtime couple's trip to Amsterdam that stirs up memories and thoughts of miracles.
For people who are seeing this movie without having read the book, how would you describe the story?
It's about a couple, Jerry and Stella, who have been married for a long time, and they've reached a stage in their marriage where I think both in their own ways they've got a sense that something is no longer right and something that needs fixing. But in the end, I think it is a love story, and I think that it's a story about hope.
The priest had this place built to commemorate the miracle.
Which was?
The indestructible host.
It seems a bit minor league as miracles go. No fireproof wafer.
You know as well as I do, Jerry, that miracles come in all shapes and sizes.
Stella, what happened to you was not miraculous. It was perfectly within the bounds of possibility.
And that wraps this week's uplifting entertainment countdown from Los Angeles. I Can Only Imagine 2 brings familiar faces back to the story. That includes actor Dennis Quaid and filmmaker and director Andrew Irwin.
What do you think he did? He takes out a pen, proceeds to write one of the most beautiful songs in history. It is well with my soul.
I Can Only Imagine did so well, more than 80 million. Is there more story to tell? Why are we doing this?
That's $80 million.
We did good. We did good.
Yeah, we have a policy at Kingdom that best idea wins.
I think is the question of the hour. I mean, that was the question I had when they started talking about doing a sequel. I was very skeptical. I was like, no, let's not rock the boat. That was a great moment. Let's move forward. But they're like, have you heard about this song that Bart wrote called Even If? And his journey as a father, and I was like, oh, tell me more. So they got to the end of telling me the story, and they're like, it's kind of like the spiritual sequel to I Can Only Imagine. I was like, no, that's the actual sequel. I can get that greenlit tomorrow. Wow. And I was like, and I'd be willing to direct that with my partner Brett McCorkle, and I fell in love with it because it took it somewhere new. Because the first movie was really about fatherhood, but it's about Bart wrestling with his dad, that relationship. His father was abusive and coming to terms with that. Now it's Bart as a dad of being like, nobody trained me how to do this job, and how do I give my kids what I was never given? And so it's really about fighting through that, finding the gratitude in the messiness, and finding kind of God's hope for kind of engaging, being the dad you want to be.
Speaking of that, Dennis, you returned to bring Arthur back to screen. How is he different this go round than the Arthur we saw? And I Can Only Imagine.
I think he's kind of in memory. Here he's being told in memory. So maybe he's a little softer in that sense. Because it's in Bart's memory.
That's a good point.
It comes back.
I never thought about that. That's a great point.
Yeah, I never did either.
That's awesome. It's true.
A very good question, though.
It's true.
So how are you feeling as we sit here close to release?
Yeah.
How are you feeling about what you've done?
You know, I'm excited. The cast on this one just absolutely crushed it. And so we brought back the originals. Dennis was a non-negotiable. John Michael was a non-negotiable. So we brought back all the originals, and just getting these people back together 8 years after we made the first one, that in of itself was a gift. But then we got to add to the cast these new characters, and bringing Milo Ventimiglia in to play Tim Timmons as this kind of spiritual guide. Milo steals the show. He's great. And then Ariel Kebbel playing, his wife Hillary, and then Sammy Dell playing Bart's son Sam. Just the cast members, everybody plays their notes just right. So the treat for me is you don't know what kind of movie you've got until you start showing it to test screenings. The audience decides. And it's always, that's the part where I have the most nerves. But sitting in an audience and watching them embrace this and seeing that surge in the crowd the way that they surged in the first one, but to be a fresh story, it's special. It's special. I can't wait for audiences to see it. I'm really proud of what these guys did.
Whatever you're going through, all of the storms, pain, trauma,
God is in the fire.
You're never alone.
Andrew Irwin works alongside his brother John Irwin. Together, they're the co-founders of Kingdom Story Company. Still ahead, the women of I Can Only Imagine 2 share their stories on and off the screen.
I just really was drawn to the kind of all-around emotions, and then also just the music. The new song, Even If, like, oh my God, we were all singing it.
Yeah, we were. Incessantly. Yeah.
And welcome back to this I Can Only Imagine 2 edition of Studio 5, coming to you this week from Los Angeles, California. We want you to now meet the women of I Can Only Imagine 2, the actresses who played the roles of Tim Timmons' wife and Bart Millard's wife.
You have a big day. Go, shoo.
I know what this is. I know what this
Oh,
is.
do you?
You're ready. Yeah, you're ready. Come on, give me your wrist.
Yeah, no.
You sure?
No. Still a work in progress over here, bud.
Okay.
Ask me again tomorrow. It's kind of cute to tell you no.
Is it?
Mm-hmm. For now, you keep your weird rituals to yourself.
You play the wives. Take me into who they are. How would you describe the wife that you're playing?
Gosh, I mean, they really are the rocks. We were just saying before, I'm super in awe of these women because they have such strength and so many layers to themselves, and just, you know, nowadays we do talk about females having their own career and kind of rocking it, but actually at the same time it's so important that there's a home to come back to, and especially when Bart is going through depression and he's on tour. If Shannon wasn't as strong and as incredible as she is and as patient, there'd be nothing for him to come back to.
Yeah.
And so it's
true.
just these really admirable women who just, they kind of just get things done without, you don't really hear about it, and I'm so in awe of that. I would be moaning all
like a
the
ninja.
time. Yeah.
Just-
I'm like, Shannon, you have the patience of a saint.
Yeah, no, it's
I was
true.
looking after 4 kids, you wouldn't hear the end of it.
No,
I'm like, girl.
Yeah, and then, yeah, it's true. And Hillary too, like, she, in real life, she has this ability to joke and, you know, just, kind of go with the flow, but there is an absolute, like, eagle-eye presence to her, where you're like, oh, you're not just go with the flow. Okay, I see. You make the flow. You are the flow. That's her.
Word am I breaking?
Or he just might fix you.
Sophie Skelton may be best known for her role in the series The Outlander. Ariel Kebbel has been seen in The Vampire Diaries and 90210. Well, we are just about out of time for this week's edition of Studio 5, so let's look ahead at next week's rundown.
Unbelievable, supernatural. Darryl Wall's debut solo album wins a Grammy. You're amazing, so breathtaking. Get the lessons behind the lyrics.
We did this record in a week, and so I flew out there on a Tuesday in the country, and that was what was playing when we walked in, just the melody. And I was like, that sounds like me. And he was like, well, I don't have no words. All I have is a melody. And so that was the first song we wrote together, and we hit it, and it took us about 15 minutes.
And his moving musical journey.
It has been an amazing journey. All the ups and the downs. I don't hate any of it. I'm appreciative of every moment, every mistake, everything that I've endured or experienced.
We hope you'll join us for that story and so much more come next week. As for this week from Los Angeles, we've got time for just one more thing. Let's give the final word to Mercy Me's Bart Millard. Bart, take me back to the first day on set for you. You're on the set for this. What's it like? What are you smelling? What are you feeling? What are you thinking?
It was pretty incredible. I mean, they obviously don't shoot the scenes in order, and so we were at that gas station out in the country, and
still got my T-shirt.
Swag. I think there is a pretty big amount of gratefulness because going through it once before, like my first time on set on the first movie was like the first day that Dennis Quaid started shooting, and I didn't know what to expect. It was really emotional. No one can kind of train you for that. And one of the first scenes was one of the abusive scenes. And I was just like, I had to leave the room because I'd never thought that it would, I guess they did something right because it definitely stirred that emotion in me. This time around, knowing what was coming, and it wasn't that intense, but it was just trying to enjoy and be present as much as possible because pretty sure this is the last movie about me. It's gonna happen, but I would assume. But and just trying to enjoy and take in every second, and just enjoying it with my family, all of them being there watching it was a pretty special moment.
Bart, that is a great final word for this edition of Studio 5 from Los Angeles and this week's look at uplifting entertainment. Until next time, make time to uplift someone around you, and then please come on back. See what Studio 5 takes you next week. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for watching.